No guest today, so we're just gonna randomly pick a question out of the cup and see what the universe is calling you to talk about today. Okay. I know how to achieve, but not how to feel good. Can design help with that? Well, that's an interesting question. I know how to achieve, but not how to feel good. Can design help with it? This one's going to have to be an exploratory answer as I walk through it and as things come up and out. I know how to achieve but not feel good. Can design help with that? I honestly believe learning, experimenting with, understanding your human design can support any part, aspect of your life. There's such a rich freedom in knowing how you're here to approach life, even if in the very beginning, upon learning it, it doesn't feel good. There might be portions of your design that you don't agree with, that you don't really want to be a part of it at the outset, simply because societal, i.e., collective or tribal norms have led you to believe that aspect of you is not right, is not good, is not effective. So, for example, I've been told at several different junctures in my life from several different people that I can be very self absorbed, that I often think about myself first, that I can be selfish. And how many times have we heard that being selfish prior to where we are in society today? Being selfish is not good. You need to take care of others. Da, 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 da. But also think about it. I mean, from the airplane analogy, whose mask are we supposed to put on first? Our own. And by being able to put on our own, we then can support others in doing the same. So let me also pair this with I've been told I'm self absorbed, but also remember or recognize that I have an open solar plexus. And so oftentimes when I was told that I was self absorbed, I also felt this kind of emotional reaction from the other person. Now, at the time, I didn't necessarily understand what any of that was, what any of it meant. But there would be this feeling of disappointment, frustration, anger, annoyance when that message was delivered to me. So not only was I hearing it that it was a quote unquote bad thing, I was feeling that from the other person. Again, I didn't understand where that was coming from, but I associated all of the message of you're too self absorbed with frustration, annoyance, anger, uh, whatever else I said. Um, but here's the thing, being self absorbed is part of my design. I have the channel of power, which is the channel of an architect, which is the channel of surviving in your own way. And this idea that the power that I possess is linked to my intuition in order for my body to alert me in the moment of what I need to do in order to survive. And those survival skills, those survival mechanisms are for me and me alone, simply because I can't give that power to anybody else. I can't give that channel to anybody who doesn't have it. However, anybody who doesn't have it around me will amplify it. And so this energy of self-absorption, of making sure that I'm staying alive, can be amplified by other people. And it is a really powerful channel, i.e., the channel of power. And when that's being amplified and that person doesn't understand it, yeah, they're going to feel my self-absorption to an nth degree, 200 times of what I feel it, and kind of reflect that back to me of like, whoa, 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 what are you doing? Well, fun fact, friend, I'm surviving. Um, this was said to me a couple times as a mother, like you take care of yourself first before you take care of your kids, in terms of like, I'll feed myself first sometimes before I feed my kids when they were younger. Now they're old enough to feed themselves. And it would be this like shame of like, oh God, I guess I'm supposed to, be there and feed my kids first. Cause, I'm like, hey, I'm hungry too. It's like, hello. Um, so, there's aspects. I'm also a 1-3 profile. I am completely self-absorbed. Being a 1-3, a 1 and 3 lines, well, first and foremost, they kind of contradict and conflict with one another. So that's a whole nother topic in and of itself. But a 1-3 is very innocent. It is very inward focused. It is very, I'm in my own world. I'm trying to figure out this karma that I'm here to bring to life. And oh, by the way, I'm in my own process. I don't actually know that there are other people around me. Okay, of course, I know there are other people around me. But my whole life experience is that I am so wildly surprised when people notice me. Now, I also have a lot of 2 lines in my um, chart. So I'm really self-absorbed. I really don't know there are other people out there. There's energy on the other end. And so when people notice me, I'm kind of like, oh, I was kind of just like living in my own little world for a little bit and had no idea that anything or anyone was around me. And actually that came up yesterday when I was talking to a new connection, and I said something to the effect of, yeah, sometimes I can be in my own little world and I don't necessarily know that there are other people around me. And this person said, yeah, I can kind of see that about you. Um, and so it's all about understanding the parts of your design. And I think that awareness, when you have it and when you want to work with it, can bring about so much freedom to understand who you are and accept and embrace the energy you were given. Now, that doesn't mean I'm just going to turn around and never think about other people and be like, oh, well, I'm here to be self absorbed so everybody else can F off, right? That's not the point. The point is to understand the energy you were given, how that translates through you, how other people perceive it. And so now moving forward, one, when I hear or am given feedback that I can be self-absorbed, one, I can kind of create a veil between any emotion the other person may be feeling about that aspect of me, whether it's annoyance, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, whether it's guilt, blame, shame, whatever the case may be, and say, and just have an open and upfront conversation and saying, yeah, there are times I can be very self-absorbed. There are times when I will be so inward focused, I may not recognize what you want, what you need, or that you're even there. And that's not to say that I'm trying to shut you out. It's simply my energy's mechanism of how all of the different parts and aspects of me operate. Now, going back to the question of I know how to achieve, but not how to feel good, can design help with that? Well, there are a couple of aspects of a design where a person may innately feel not good. And for anybody out there who has an open spleen, so if you're looking at a human design chart, it's the triangle on the left side that's kind of facing sideways and it kind of looks like that on the left side of the chart. That is the um, center for your immune system, for your intuition, for your overall well being. Anybody with an open spleen by nature just doesn't feel good. That energy is that they're not built in with a consistent and reliable access to their intuition, to their immune system, to their well being. So, physically speaking, a lot of people who have open spleens or undefined spleens often talk about they just don't feel good, right? They don't, and part of that is that they don't feel secure in their own survival. Now let's kind of like separate that from security in terms of sense of self-worth. It truly is this physical, I don't feel secure in my life, in my ability to survive. That's why the borrowed frequency strategy is I will hold on to anything that allows me to feel physically good, i.e., someone with a defined spleen. It's like they will keep coming back to that in order to feel physically safe. And oftentimes, the borrowed frequency strategy is that when they are in the presence of a defined spleen, they may actually let go of something that is healthy for them because they are more tuned into the other person's innate sense of survivability, their own innate sense of secure well being. They're tapping into that other person's energy and borrowing that from them. But the wisdom of an open or undefined spleen is that you can recognize who truly is healthy and who isn't, physically healthy in how they live their lives, who's kind of true, who can be really intuitive, who's in tuned to their intuition, into their instinct, and into their well being. That is the wisdom of an open spleen. And actually, those who learn to understand what their open or undefined spleen can do for them actually become some of the world's greatest healers, is because they can physically kind of feel into someone else's well-being and physical security in order to really start to understand what's going on within them. So, yeah, I mean, design can really help you understand. Yes, you may be over here achieving, but one, are you achieving through your true frequency or are you achieving through your borrowed frequency? Because you can achieve through your borrowed frequency, but that level of performance, that level of achievement, that level of success will never be sustainable if you're doing it through your borrowed frequency. When you tap into your true frequency and see how results come to you, see how you achieve by operating through the frequency that was given to you, I will go out on a very strong limb and say you will recognize that achieving results through that frequency, while you may still struggle, while you may still run into resistance, that is the struggle and resistance that is meant for you. And the results that you achieve will be so much more fulfilling, will be so much more aligned to who you are. So, yeah, you can achieve through a borrowed frequency, but I'm telling you right now, that level of performance is not sustainable. And then understanding your design can help you kind of figure out and navigate, why don't I feel good right now? Is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it mental? Is it a combination of all three? Because that can be found in design too. But it's all about understanding the nuances of your design, what resonates with you, what feels uncomfortable, what part of your journey do you need to go on? What part of your experiment do you need to engage in order to further understand that, further understand how your true frequency comes into play, and how, by aligning to who you are here to be, who you are meant to be, can physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually shift how you actually feel in this life. And if you are interested in learning more about borrowed frequency, what that looks like, how that translates in your life, that's my specialty, is really digging into what that borrowed frequency is, how it translates in your life, and what it's actually keeping you from, whether that's physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, and then working together to figure out how do we get out from under the weight, the burden, and the resistance that a borrowed frequency can bring. Have a good Thursday, friends.